Thank you so much for tuning in to Flowing Life, where we love God, love people, and we live life. This is living.
Genesis chapter 26. Genesis chapter 26. This is what it says. In verse 1. There was a famine in the land. Besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. Then the Lord appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land of which I shall tell you." Verse 3, "Dwell in this land, and I will be with you." For some of y'all, that's all you need to hear. I will be with you. But then he goes on to say this too, "and bless you. For to you and your descendants I give all the lands, and I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your father." Listen, y'all, that's something to shout over by itself. That's something to get excited about. That's something to lift up your hands. You know, for a lot of us, it's just like, God, speak to me. If you tell me what you want me to do, if you just let me know that you're with me, that's all I need to know. Not only does he say, "I'm with you," he says, "I will bless you." Follow me. He says, "I'm with you. I will bless you." In verse 4, "And I will make your descendants multiply as the stars of heaven. I will give your descendants all these lands, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed." Let's skip down to verse 12. I know that's something to get excited about. Verse 12, "Then Isaac sowed in that land." We've been talking about digging ditches all year. We've been talking about digging ditches, creating a space for God to fill, right? It says that then Isaac sowed in the land and reaped in the same year 100-fold. And the Lord blessed him. The man began to prosper and continued prospering until he became very prosperous. It says that the man began to prosper. Hold on. Y'all see this? You see how many times it says prosper in there? It says he began to prosper, continued prospering until he became very prosperous. For he had possessions and flocks and possessions of herds and great number of servants. So the Philistines envied him. I know you thought that the blessing was going to come. God, as long as you with me, I ain't going to have to deal with nothing. Once you start increasing me more and more, then things are going to start opening up. Ain't nobody around me going to get envious. Ain't nobody around me going to get jealous. I ain't going to lose no friends. I ain't going to lose no family. Everybody's going to be on board with this because I would imagine that everybody else around me would be excited about my blessing. I would imagine that if I said, "Miss Marjorie, hey, guess what? I just got a promotion on my job." You expect somebody to be excited for you. Somebody to clap at the bare minimum. Good for you. I don't expect silence. I don't expect you to be like, "Dang, that's what I wanted. And you got it ahead of me." I'm expecting that when God blesses me, that everybody around me is going to understand what God is doing in my life. That everybody is going to come with me. All right, I'm going to the next level. All right, everybody, come on with me. All right, I'm going into this next season. All right, everybody, come on with me. And we expect that everybody is going to be with it. Everybody's going to understand. Everybody is going with us. Who did God tell that he was going to prosper, that he was going to bless? In the passage, he's talking to Isaac. Isaac, son of Abraham. We already know about the blessings of Abraham. He says, "I'm going to bless you, Isaac. And everybody else around you is just a byproduct of me blessing you." Right? So they're not going to really understand the source of your blessing. They're not going to really understand where this is. I know some of y'all might have tuned me out because y'all like, "Oh, this is a prosperity message. This is a blessing message. Pastor, I don't want to hear it." Keep listening. Don't log off if you're online. Don't log off. Keep listening. Keep listening. You're going to find yourself in this message. Thought that everybody was going with you. Everybody was going to understand it. God has his hand on you. I don't expect somebody else to understand what God is doing in me. Because sometimes I'm confused myself. trying to figure it out myself. God, I know what you want to do in my life, but can you at least give me the next step? I ain't even asking you for 10. I could do with 1. It says that, so the Philistines envied him. Up to this point, they had a pretty decent working relationship. Oh my God. They cool with you. Was anybody streaming on Wednesday night? Raise it by show of hands. Anybody stream Wednesday night? If you didn't, you ain't gonna miss nothing. You'll still be able to follow. They were cool with him as long as he was on their level. Isaac, we know who your daddy is, but we all right with you hanging out with us as long as you keep us comfortable. All right, we love the blessings on your life and all the blessings around us, but once you grow beyond our expectations, I kind of feel some kind of way. This is what it says. It says, so the Philistines envied him. Verse 15, they go a step further. It says, now the Philistines stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham. Abraham dug wells for all of his descendants. Everybody who would come after him, I've created a legacy. I've created generational wealth for everybody that will come after me. They got mad at this man and stopped up the wells. They clogged it with earth. In the Word of God, that's what it says. It says they filled it with earth. They dug up the dirt. They pushed it into the ditches to clog up the water. Y'all follow me? Don't be distracted. Y'all follow me? Don't be distracted. I know sometimes y'all probably feel like, God, I sometimes feel like no matter what I do, it just ain't good enough for you. God, I feel like, all right, I'm being obedient. I did what you told me to do. I stepped out on faith. I don't know about y'all. I'm just talking to myself right now. I don't know about y'all. But it seems like every single time, Lakir, that me and my wife get comfortable, that God end up giving us a new instruction that pushes us outside of comfort. God, I just feel like I just can't make you happy. Can you give me a break? I'm doing everything you told me to do, and it seems like with every step you give me a new instruction. God, what's up? God has a plan for your life that is bigger than you. I know it's about 3 people in here that will receive that, that'll accept that. You're like, God, wait a minute. God has a plan for your life that's bigger than you. His ways are not like our ways. His thoughts are not like our thoughts. And he will not compromise his will for your complacency. Nah, I ain't coming down to your level. What you mean, God? Can I just camp out right here? God, this is good. You don't bless me enough. All right, I don't want nobody to get mad. I don't want to frustrate nobody in my circle. God, if you just bless me a little bit, and I won't tell nobody. I'll just keep it to myself because I don't want to disrupt anybody. I don't want to disturb anybody. You know, I have nice things, but I don't want to wear them because I don't want people to look at me and be like, oh, you stunned. Oh, who you trying to impress? Right? He's not going to compromise. He is not going to compromise his will to come down to your level. Go ahead and put the title slide up. I forgot. There's more. There's always. There is always. I don't care where you are in your life. There's always more. I don't care if you're the person sitting in this room like, well, Pastor Ty, I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm all right, man. I got a good job. I got my car. I got my acres and my mule, and I got everything that's been promised and a bunch of things that I didn't even ask for. I'm good. There is always more. I don't care where you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care what's going on. I don't care how successful you are. There is always more. What does that look like naturally, Pastor Ty? You have people who climb the ladder of success and they get to the top. And then when they get to the top, everybody else at the bottom is saying, all right, well, you good. Why don't you just chill? But for some people, they don't have no off switch. No matter how much I get, I have to have more. And we look at those people from a natural perspective, from a business perspective, and we say they're greedy. Oh, they want too much. They doing too much. But when you go after the heart of God, you'll find out that people are going to be saying that same thing about you. You don't got to do that much. You doing too much. Why you dancing so much? Why you singing so loud? Why you always got to be out in front of the people? Why you always got to call me and give me an encouraging word? Now, y'all ain't complaining about nobody encouraging. It's cool the first time. It's cool after the second week. It's cool after the third week. But once you start sending me scriptures every single day, all right, bro, you doing too much, man. Right? You feel like somebody is doing too much. But, man, if you really get the heart of God on the inside, there will always be more. Somebody say there's always more. Somebody say there's always more. So this is what happened in verse 15. Now the Philistines stopped up the wells, which the fathers of the servants had dug in the days of Abraham, his father, and they had filled them with earth. It just means that they pushed the dirt in the wells, clogged them up. They didn't know what they were doing. And Abimelech, in verse 16, and Abimelech said to Isaac, go away from us, for you are much mightier than we. Y'all, he's cool with Abimelech. They're buddies. They're boys. He says, I need you to go away, for you are mightier than we. Anybody ever been to Planet Fitness? Some of y'all might know where I'm going with this. What is it called? Gym intimidation? Is it called gym intimidation? Is that the word? They don't like people to be intimidated when they come to work out. And so if you're a bodybuilder, you're just like, hey, Planet Fitness is literally right across the street. I can walk there. Ain't no other places to go anywhere else. They don't want you there because you're intimidating everybody else around them. When you're lifting weights, kind of like I do, and it gets really heavy and you, they don't want to hear none of that. They don't want to hear you yelling. They don't want to hear you screaming. They don't want to see you flexing. They want your body to be covered up if you got muscles. And if you don't got muscles, they want you to show it so that other people will feel better around it, right? Y'all must not know this. Go look it up. Like literally. Literally. And then once you get your physique to a certain point, they may even come and speak to you and say, all right, I think you've kind of outgrown. Y'all see where I'm going with this? Isaac outgrew the space that he was in. Y'all can't, all right. God said, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to prosper you. It says that he sowed in the same year that he brought in a harvest 100-fold. All right. I'm okay with math, but it's safe to say he went from a little bit to a lot. Does that work? In the same year, they were okay with 100-fold. But they wanted them to just cut it off there. But then once he started to expand even more, they said, wait a minute, you've gotten stronger than what we are comfortable with. We are okay with you if you can just provide what we need for the land, but nothing more. Because if you start doing more, you're going to start drawing in enemies. Let me make this plain for you. Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Can't kill something that doesn't have life. Can't steal from somebody who don't got nothing. You can't destroy something that doesn't exist, right? If I just got a little bit, I ain't no threat. Let me see. We gotta share some of my life. So, what is this? Last year, I think it was last year, February. Last year, Um, I've never really been consumed with social media. I just could care less. To be completely honest, my wife had to persuade me. She was just like, hey, I think people need to hear what you have to say. I feel like you have influence, so you need to use your platform. I literally fought it for at least a year. I fought it. I was just like, I don't want to get consumed with it. I don't want it to consume me. There's just a lot of temptation, a lot of crazy stuff out there. I just don't want to get absorbed with it. There's a lot of crazy people. Everybody always feel like they can say what they want, but then when you say something back, then people get mad and people get upset. I was just like, it's just extra. So I got on social media. And then I'm feeling like how a lot of us feel. We do something that God is prompting us to do, and then we expect that right when we do it, that God is just going to expand it. He's just going to grow it, that God is going to bring the increase just because we started it, right? I go out, I set up my IG platform, and even TikTok. Would you believe that? I know, some of y'all probably believe it now, but for her, she's like, who is this guy? I just didn't want to. So I did it. And so my followers, I feel like y'all can understand. I'm just using my personal life. My followers did not grow. And for me, I'm like, I ain't going to be in nothing that's not growing. I'm like, man, if this ain't going nowhere, then I'm wasting my time. And so I'm just like, well, I mean, I don't know if this is doing, I don't know if this is making impact. I don't know that this really carries any weight. And I be joking with my wife a lot, like, hey, post something and share something for me. Send me some friends. I don't got no friends. You know what I mean? Help. I just be messing with her. At times she had a bunch of followers. I'm just like, hey man, I don't got no friends. You the one that pushed me out here, so then so I still don't got no friends, y'all. So I'm expecting, just because I set it up, that it's going to grow. Just in case you don't know what trolls are people who try to stir up problems just for no reason on social media, right? I don't got no problem with trolls. I don't got no problem with crazy people posting stuff on my page, whether it be on Facebook or tagging me and stuff. I don't got no friends. Nobody care. Ain't nobody in my DMs. Ain't no scammers. Ain't no spam messages. It ain't nothing. Everything's just black and white. It's just spam. It's just boring. Like it was just dry. Something happened. Let me fast forward. 4 viral videos later, things start taking off. They start coming in like crazy. Like literally, I'm looking up and it's like 5,000 a day. And I'm just like, what is happening right now? I'm looking at her like, what just happened? What's going on? I'm looking through the feed and I'm just like, what's going on? I don't understand what happened or what tripped. So now we're at the point where I get trolls all the time. I mean, it's if I just say, man, y'all, God is good. Why you always got to talk about God? Why everything always got to be religious? Why can't we keep God out? Why can't you just be a good guy? Why can't you just keep it mainstream? Man, I love my family. Why you always got to post pictures of your family? Right? Yeah, kids got, you got to keep your kids secret. You say stuff about everything. Somebody the other day, you need to repent, so you don't go to hell, and you need to preach the truth. And people don't care about you if you ain't producing nothing. You can lay low. You can chill. Like nobody's coming after you if you don't got nothing. For Isaac, he started producing a little bit too much for their comfort zone. Because if you start producing too much, then you wear a target on your back. The people are going to start coming for you. But they wanted to be in obscurity. They just wanted the blessing, but they wanted to hide it. And let's just keep our blessing for us and for ourselves. And so they say, Isaac, you're growing mightier than we are. You're growing a little bit too big for our comfort. And if you grow too much, then somebody's going to try to attack our land. And if they do, I don't think we're strong enough to be able to tackle the enemies that have come up against us. What they did not know is that God was with Isaac. It didn't say that God was in the land. It didn't say God was in the house. It didn't say they built an altar and God was going to stay at the altar. It didn't say that God was even in the wells. It said that God was with Isaac. They didn't know what they was doing. They said, Isaac, we need you to leave. Do you understand you're asking God to leave? I was working a job. I was working for the state before we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I was working a job and I got laid off. I can say this with confidence. I told my wife this. I told my manager this. I said, I'm one of the best employees you have in this building. I know. Thank you. Because I messed some of y'all up, because some of y'all sitting there like, I feel like I do a pretty good job. I don't know if I can say that with confidence. I said that with confidence. This is after they laid me off. I ain't cuss them out. I ain't fuss. I ain't yell. I ain't scream. I ain't go wild. I ain't start flipping over tables. I said, I'm one of the best employees you have in this whole building. They said, we still gonna give you 2 weeks to work. Everybody else that got laid off during that time, they came to work, they said, I ain't answering the phones for what? I don't work here no more. I just got 2 weeks to collect the check. People coming in, they don't even log into their computers. It's like, for what? What are they gonna do, fire me? I went in there every single day for the next 2 weeks. I actually got there early, Jasmine. I got there early. I got there every single day, logged into my computer, answered the phone, did my paperwork, did my Excel spreadsheets, and did it with excellence every single day, because this is who I am. God is with me. He's not with the job. So if I leave the job, guess what? I'm sorry. I don't know what's going to happen to this organization, but God's coming with me. Yeah. Guess what happened? Was it about 3 months? About 3 months? About 3 months later, I got a call. Hey, you got a job yet? We want you to come back. We want you to come back. I mean, you've always been great, with us and for us. And long story short, I ended up going back for a short period of time. I'd already prayed about it before I went back. This wasn't oh man, thank you God, this is an opportunity. Nope, I went back on purpose. At this point, my wife and I already knew that we had a call into Charlotte. So I said, not to Charlotte. We knew that we had a calling for ministry. We didn't know it was going to be in Charlotte yet. We knew we had a calling. And so in the time being, I said, okay, well, I know that I'm going back to this job, but I don't think I'm going to be here long. I went back to the job. What I noticed is when I got back to the job, some of the same people who weren't logging into their computers during that 2 weeks, they weren't there. They weren't there. I noticed that the 3 months that while I was away, things went downhill. I got back to literally not just a desk full of work, but desks stacked. And they're just like, we haven't been able to keep up. We've not been able to do anything. Watch this. We need you to do what you do. I was able to clean up 3 months worth of mess in about 2 weeks. Listen, y'all, listen. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. The presence of God was with Isaac. They're pushing him away. They don't even understand what they're pushing. Whatever happens in your life, you have to understand that God is coming with me. When you got your heart broken, it wasn't, a piece of me is still. No, I'm whole. I'm complete. I got everything that I need with me. The presence of God is with me. But I know this is tough. This is tough. This is tough. I'm gonna give you a preface. I'm trying to help you and prepare you for it before I say it. I know that this is tough. When you lost a loved one and you had to bury them, it feels like a piece of you went in the ground with them. I'm here to encourage you today that a piece of you is not in the ground. You are whole. You are complete. You have everything that you need on the inside. The presence of God is with you. When somebody dies, the Spirit of God ain't sitting in the grave with him. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. If somebody carries a mantle, if they carry an anointing, they carry those gifts are still in the earth. Right? That ain't the message. That could go somewhere way different. They kicked out Isaac because he had grown too much. They didn't understand that he was carrying the presence of God. I'm about to get ready to finish on this part right here. Don't ever feel guilty for growing. Ever. 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 In verse 22. Actually, no, let me go ahead and read this. Verse 17. Then Isaac departed from there, pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac dug again. Y'all see that? They clogged up the wells. They clogged up the wells. He ain't throw no pity party. Oh man, they ain't clogged up. Let me go find something else to do. All right, God, what are we gonna do? All right, where are we gonna live? God, I need you to come through. Went back to work. Let's open up these wells again. Let's dig it again. All right, Pastor Ty, I heard you at the beginning of the year. We're digging ditches. We're creating a space for God to fill. We're making preparation for what we're expecting. All right, Pastor Ty, I hear you, man. But I feel like these ditches getting filled up with earth. I feel like the dirt just keep filling. Every time I dig, keep digging. Dig again. Dig a little bit deeper. Dig a little bit deeper. It says that he dug again. I would Pastor Ty, man, you don't understand, but this is the 5th time that they done filled up my ditch with a bunch of dig again. All right, but this is the 3rd time I done applied for the same job. Apply again. All right, but all right, Pastor Ty, I hear you. I really do. But after getting rejected after so many times, I can't take another rejection again. I wish I can tell y'all everything that happened this week with me, but I'll save it for next week. But listen, I've had many opportunities in this last week just to say, man, you know what? I'm just chill. Because obviously, this ain't the will of God. Ain't no way in the world. If I just keep on trying, and it ain't working, ain't no way in the world that this is something that God wants me to do. Because if he did, God, just make the path plain. God, you're a lamp unto my feet, a light unto my path. Just make I just know that everything is going to be easy. I'm just walking with the Lord. Got my shoes off. We just walking on the beach and we just having a good time. And then that thing gets shut down. What you going to do? What's your posture? What's your attitude? Yes, you saying it. You saying it. Keep digging. Keep going. Right? Can't go into too much detail because I told y'all this year I'm going to produce and then I'm going to tell you about it. I had an opportunity to quit. I had an opportunity to give up. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense how I can just keep on going after the same thing and then it just doesn't work. But something rose up in me and I just said, nah, you know what? No, it's not going this way. I'm going to go after it. All they can do is say no. And if they say no, try again. We're going to be back again. Until we get to the point where there's a story in the Bible where it talks about a woman who she kept approaching the king. And she kept coming. Doesn't say that she was a believer. Doesn't say that she was a Christian. Doesn't say she sought the Lord. Doesn't say she had a word from the Lord. And he said, this is going to be your land. And all you need to do is walk in and you need to take the land from Pharaoh. Doesn't say none of that. It just says that she was persistent. And over time, the king was like, you know what? I need to do something about this because you're wearing me out. That's what it says in the Bible. It said, man, you wearing me out. You wearing me out. I need to do something about this. But sometimes as Christians, we feel like, oh, well, God, I know you're going to do it, man. So, all right, God, just go ahead and do it. God, just go ahead and open the door. Just go ahead and make it happen. But when's the last time you got frustrated? When the last time that you got a holy indignation on the inside of you and said, I'm going after it? I'd rather go after it and God have to reel me in like, all right, you've gone out a little bit too far, than for me to be sitting back and God screaming like, hey, you gonna come? All right, come on. I went to my daughter's school last month, and the teacher was talking about the kids, and she was like, yeah, they're rambunctious, they're loud, they're all over the place, they got so much energy. And I said, I like it. She was looking at me like I was crazy. She's like, what's wrong with you? And I said, I would actually prefer for them to have more energy and me to channel that energy than for me to walk into the room and it's like pulling teeth just trying to get them to say hi, right? It's a little bit easier for me to channel it because then I know that I won't have to light a fire under you to do it. I know that all I have to do is give you a direction. If I give you an instruction, I already know. If I tell Shakara to do it, I already know she's going to do it. I already know if I tell Lady Taryn and shit, I tell her to do it. I know she's going to do it. So God doesn't mind giving us instructions if he knows that we're going to carry it through. But if we're the ones sitting back like, all right, God, I don't know. Maybe you'll do it, maybe you're not, then you won't. Just keep digging. Let God find you being faithful. Yes, sir. Let God find you being faithful. That's it. Let me try to finish this. 18, Isaac dug again the water which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father in verse 18. We're in Genesis 26. Skip down to 19. Also Isaac's servants dug the valley and found the well running with water. This is where it gets interesting. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, the water is ours. First, they kicked him out of the land. He found a well that they put the dirt in. Then once he hit water, they said, hey, that's ours. Wait a minute, but you ain't want to put in the work for it. But you want the rewards without the work. All right, you know what, man? I'm feeling good today. I'm going to let you have this one. Okay? So he called the name Esek because they quarreled with him. Verse 21. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one also. They said that water is ours. So he called it Sitnah. Where am I at? So he called it Sitnah. And Sitnah, and actually I had to write this down because I want y'all to get it. Sitnah means accusations. So it seems like every place that he goes, they say, hey, that's our water. And then he labels it as a place. He said, this is a quarrelsome place. This is a place of accusation. Because the presence of God ain't staying here. The presence of God is moving. So when the presence of God moves away from it, you got water, but this thing gonna dry up over time because you don't have the source, right? You don't have the presence of God to be able to sustain it and maintain it. So every time y'all come to this well, it's always gonna be a quarrel. It's always going to be fight. Every time you come to this well, it's always going to be accusation. You're always going to be fighting. This is what the word of God says about the blessings of God. It says that the blessings of God maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. That's how you can maybe discern if it's a blessing of God. All right, people of the world, all right, man, but it seems like they got everything. It seems like they can buy whatever they want, but does it add sorrow? Right? Are there accusations? Are there quarrels? Is there jealousy? Is there envy? Are you just trying to keep up with the next? But if it's the blessing of God, if the presence of God is going with you, then we don't got none of the extra stuff that comes with the well. He said, you know what? You can have the accusations. You can have the quarrels. Let me move on because the presence of God is with me and not at the well. This is what he says in verse 24. And the Lord appeared to him the same night and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear. Wait a minute. Y'all already know. I told y'all, anywhere you see, do not fear or do not be afraid. You know that he's about to say something that doesn't make natural sense, and you need to turn up your spiritual radar to be able to hear what he's about to say in the spirit, because if you just hear it naturally, you're going to be afraid. This is what he says. He says, do not fear, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake. But why would I fear? Maybe I would be fearful because I've been rejected twice already. Every time I dig it up, somebody comes to take it. So maybe I should just stop. He says, do not fear. I am with you. So I don't care if it gets stopped up 10 more times. I am with you. I don't care what you have to face, what you have to go through. Oh, well, it's just embarrassing. You know, when my car gets declined, I don't care how many times it happens. He says, I am with you. He was preparing Isaac for where he was taking him. He was preparing him. He was preparing Isaac to be able to maintain the blessing of God. This is what happens. He said, do not fear. I will bless you, multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake. So he built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord, and he pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants dug a well. Where does it say it? I think it's in verse 22 is where he gave it the name Rehoboth. And the name Rehoboth means, somebody say, wide open spaces. Wide open spaces. I ain't gonna say a whole lot, but I'm getting into my message for next week already. Wide open spaces. He's saying that where you were before, you didn't have room to grow. There were people around you that would not allow you to reach your full potential, that would not allow you to dream, to the point where you didn't even want to share what God was doing in your life because you wasn't sure how it was going to be received. If I got to question what your response is going to be to some good news, then maybe you don't deserve to be around me. I know it hurts. I know it hurts. I know it hurts. Let me be careful how I say this, because I don't want nobody walking up with their nose in the air. Let me be careful how I say this. People need to qualify to be part of your dreams. People need to qualify to be part of your dreams, right? You can tell people your dreams. You can share with people what God is doing in your life, but not if they're not qualified, right? Sometimes what God is doing in you and around you, it might only be like one or two people that can really, really handle it. I'm sure that y'all have had that feeling before where you share something with somebody and you're so excited and their first thing is, how you gonna do that? Where you gonna get the money for that? If I'm being honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that this is what God told me to do. I'm gonna be obedient in it. And when I get there, I'll come back and tell you about it. I'll invite you to the grand opening when it happens, right? When God has called you. Everything else is preparation for wide open spaces. He's saying you've been squeezed in too long. You've been pressured too long. Listen, do not. I think it was spoken prophetically with the group in our morning huddle before service this morning. Don't allow the size of this room to define what's going on in this ministry. Do not allow, if you're sitting next to an empty seat, do not allow that seat to define what is going on in the spirit. Because everybody won't see what you see. But I recognize God when I feel him. And if God is in it, then wherever we go, God is going with us. When God get ready to put us in a new space, guess what? God is going with us. I ain't hear nobody say nothing. I be trying to drop little hints. God is going with us. When we go out for Fifth Sunday outreaches, God goes with us. He doesn't. Oh my God. I don't want to mess up nobody's theology. When we go out for outreach, the presence of God is not sitting in this room like, I wish y'all come back in here so y'all can get some of this presence, so y'all can get some of this glory. He goes with us. When we go out on the mission field, it ain't, all right, well, we need to get the missionaries and we need to bring them all to the United States and bring them in the four walls because this is where the presence of God lives. No, you take it with you. You are a carrier of the glory of God. You're a carrier of the presence of God. And wherever you go, lives are impacted. He's calling us to wide open spaces. A space where we can stretch. A space where we have room to grow. I'll leave you with this last thing because I'm over my time. One of the ways that you know it's God is if it scares you almost. Things should make you uncomfortable. If God show you something that he's calling you to do and you just like, oh yeah, that's easy. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. Sometimes you can tell if it's God because that thing, it'll be something in your gut just like, hold on, all right, God, it'll be something in you almost not as an insecurity, and I'm going to try to explain it the best I can, but it's almost like, God, you sure you got the right one for this one? Because I can think of about 10 reasons why I'm probably not the person fit for this. That's one of the reasons how you can tell. One of the reasons that you know it's time for you to go from one place to the next is because you kind of feel that pinch. I don't feel like my gifts are being utilized. I don't feel like I'm maximizing my potential. And every time I feel like it's starting to expand, I feel like I'm being suppressed. I feel like I'm being oppressed. I feel like my current job, like they're not allowing me to explore what I have. I could take this business and I can make it thrive, but they just don't want to hear it. They don't want to receive what I have to offer. It's a sign. Okay, I need room to grow. But when God puts you in a new space, understand that you're not going to be comfortable there. This is the beginning of discomfort. Because trust and believe, if you asking God for $1 million house, you also going to have faith for him to fill up that $1 million house. You're going to go into that $1 million house from a 1-bedroom apartment, have your 1 bed in 1 room, be sitting on crates. You got to have faith to fill that thing up. All right, well, who going to go through the house and clean all of these windows? Who going to vacuum all these floors? Who going to mow this lawn? Right? Y'all still making preparation for what you're expecting? Don't be out here expecting God to do stuff and just think that he going to do all the work. And you're not preparing for it. You're not in position to receive it. Everybody stand to your feet. Thank y'all for allowing me to go over my time. How many people are still doing the fasted lifestyle challenge? Yep, fasted lifestyle challenge. So we're picking a day of the week, and you choose what you're fasting, but obviously food needs to be one of those things because that's the most essential element of life. If you can turn down food, you can turn down anything. One day, for whatever time slot that you set, or if it's the whole day. I'm encouraging everybody to do that because things are happening and we need to make sure that we are in spiritual position so that when natural opposition comes, we'll keep digging. That's all I'm going to say on that note. Father, we thank you for this word. Thank you for speaking to us. Thank you for challenging us. Thank you for encouraging us. Father, to the best of my ability, I've delivered what I believe that you have given me to say. Father, I thank you that your word, I can say confidently, I know it. I sense it in this room today, that your word is not falling on deaf ears. God, I thank you that your word has hit good soil, hearts that are ready to receive and ready to run with the vision. God, I thank you. Lord, yeah, this is going to be a bold one. I'm not going to speak for you, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to say it for yourself. God, I give you permission to push me into purpose. Yeah, I almost dare you to say it. I give you permission to push me into purpose. Yep. Father, I thank you that you're with us. You're with us. You're with us every step of the way. moments where it doesn't feel like it, moments where it doesn't look like it, moments where we experience rejection or opposition or things that come up that don't look like or sound like you. Father, I thank you that you're with us and that you have our best interest in mind. God, I thank you at the end of the day, it might be somebody in this room that maybe feels like they don't got nobody to talk to, don't nobody understand where they're at spiritually. God, I thank you that you are a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. That you are one that we can talk to that's not going to share our business. Somebody that's going to be excited when we're excited. Somebody who is concerned with the things that concern us. God, I thank you for seasons in my life where you're the only person that I had to talk to. And that you have proven yourself to be faithful. I thank you that you'll prove yourself to somebody today. Have your way, Holy Spirit. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Good morning, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the service today. In case you missed any part of the message, no worries. All of our messages are archived on our YouTube channel. Feel free to click the channel, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button so you get all the latest videos that we have as soon as they air. If you're blessed by the message today and you feel led to sow into the ministry, you can do so online on our website or via our Cash App. For more information about the upcoming events, please follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. Feel free to share anything that you've learned today with a friend and invite them to join you next week right here on our live broadcast. Lastly, thank you so much for tuning in to Flowing Life, where we love God, love people, and we live life. This is living.